Good morning, Teacher Julia. I am going to present you my paper. Ideas will address my research as teacher, because teachers are working in a place where many questions need to be resolved. This place is school, but more, it is life, students' life. So, I want to work about this research topic, literary games, a tool to write in English. My name is ANYELA Rodriguez. I am studying Licenciatura en Inglés in Distrital University. First, to begin, I want to share a beautiful message. We die. That may be the meaning of life, but we do language. That may be the measure of our lives. Toni Morrison. This talk about how language is not only to repeat grammatical rules, but how it is a way to communicate ideas, feelings, and so on. Then, why is English important to Colombian people if we communicate ideas in Spanish? The government answers. El gobierno nacional tiene el compromiso fundamental de crear las condiciones para que los colombianos desarrollen competencias comunicativas en otra lengua. Tener un buen nivel de inglés facilita el acceso a oportunidades laborales y educativas que ayudan a mejorar la calidad de vida. Ser competente en otra lengua es esencial en el mundo globalizado, el cual exige poderse comunicar mejor, abrir fronteras, comprender otros contextos, apropiar saberes y hacerlos circular, entender y hacerse entender, enriquecerse y jugar un papel decisivo en el desarrollo del país. Ser bilingüe amplía las oportunidades para ser más competentes y competitivos. Ministerio de Educación Nacional, 2006. Nevertheless, the problematic goes beyond only to develop transcripts techniques, where the proposal is to deal with the school requirements, with the excuse Colombia is not a bilingual country and should be. Then other questions arise. Does students want to be bilingual? Where is English in their lives? Do they may use English in their daily activities? Answer I could find says. Así lo revela la evaluación hecha por el índice de nivel de inglés EFEPI, English Proficiency Index. Los colombianos tienen un nivel muy bajo de inglés. En una evaluación del dominio de este idioma hecho por el índice de nivel de inglés a más de 2 millones de personas de 44 países, Colombia ocupa el puesto 42. El tiempo, 2011. What is EF? Is an institution since 1965. EF meaning Education First. Es hoy en día la compañía educativa internacional más grande del mundo. EF cuenta con 400 escuelas de idiomas en más de 50 países, así como la escuela de inglés online más grande del mundo, EF English Town. El índice de nivel de inglés, EPI, mide el nivel medio de inglés de un país en su integridad y lo compara al de otros países. Es el primer índice de su categoría que ofrece a los países una medición normalizada del nivel de inglés en adultos. El índice utiliza un único conjunto de datos procedentes de pruebas de inglés completadas por 2.3 millones de adultos en un plazo de 3 años, libremente y online. Then, I have two realities. One says English is necessary and obligatory in Colombia, and the other shows Colombian people don't use English constantly. In this way, I made a teaching mechanism based on literary games, which I want to produce social and cultural construction space while English is taught in a natural way using daily life. Before to explain how I am going to act over this situation, I am going to talk about a specific context where I will work. This study focuses on designing some English literary games for improving free writing from the student of Institución Educativa Enriqueola Herrera 5th grade. This is an aspect that pretends to take advantage of the creative action of writing to improve the level of writing in English foreign language. As far as Institución Educativa Enriqueola Herrera School is concerned, to give some of the option to practice with interest the English language can result in the multiplication of knowledge obtained by a student toward other school students. Regarding the horizon of this proposal, it is an answer to the first monitoring done at the school with the student from 5th grade, while observing the literary games, especially when completing the same text with funny, sad, horrific, and lovely words, which were chosen by the group. What was written took different and surprising meaning to the listeners. Although this exercise was done in Spanish, it made easier for the English teacher and heads of the institution to identify the game as an effective tool of teaching and learning. On the other hand, when making an analysis of the writing level in children from 5th grade, there were found important deficiencies limited to the construction of sentence regarding a non-effective communication, nor conscious of the student feeling and truth, but the grammatical organization of words. This is evident when the students are asked about their topics of interest, where although having a lot of information to share, but they were not able to use English in order to do it, which made them feel a little disappointed. This makes evidence that the English acquisition to this group of children consists of learning sentence by heart, but not to talk about themselves and their environment. The previous two paragraphs build first the reason of looking for alternatives to impel the autonomous creation of text by the student, and secondly, the use of a suitable tool for the expression of thought through writing material, the literary game. According to this, at least 12 sessions will be held, in which children write down a final test through literary games and the simultaneous application of the rules of the foreign English language that they already know or they have studied in previous grade. I put these ideas together. In conclusion, this resource is about implementing literary games based on a student's life to promote autonomous writers, looking for a student to learn and play, recognizing literary games as tools for the free expression of thought, where students use their own voice in English to talk about what they see and live every day. Now, I am going to explain my words. In recent years, language teachers have focused on the role of the learner as an active participant in the teaching and learning process. Unlongo 2004, page 3. Teachers and students building knowledge together. First, as English teacher, I have to recognize most of my students belong to lower strata, where people do not have a choice to practice their English outside of school. This is common for people like me who work with population that needs a lot of educational support. Distrital University cannot ignore this reality because schools that are benefiting from academic practice belong to lower strata. This is happening because while English is very useful for connecting the world, does not allow Colombian students are connecting with their daily lives. A viable option to introduce English in the student daily use is that English must talk about common situation of young Colombian people. English cannot only describe actions, scenarios, people and life from other countries, because this information will not be relevant to remember and to understand. Thus, if we want to be teacher, we cannot only produce an English class according to standard and syllabuses. Conversely, knowledge given in any class must be focused in what English can offer to our students and likes. Second, why games? Games are fun and children like to play them. This is in itself a strong argument for incorporating them in the EFL teaching. Playing games is a vital and natural part of growing up and learning. Through games, children experience, discover, and interact with their environment. Games can provide this stimulus. The game contest makes the foreign language immediately useful to the children. It brings the target language to life. The games make the reason for speaking pleasurable even to reluctant children. And literary games? It is possible to link the concept of playing and writing in a meaning like PLEC 2011 proposes in its website. No se trata de actividades de animación a la lectura a partir de libros concretos, sino de meras provocaciones para despertar el gusanillo de la escritura, para hacer sentir a los niños y jóvenes que son capaces, y naturalmente que lo son, de crear sus propios textos. Solo hace falta que a su lado exista un maestro, un bibliotecario o un padre dispuesto a valorar su esfuerzo y a disfrutar compartiendo con ellos la magia de la palabra escrita, aunque la pluma la hayan movido Paquito, María, Bryce o Nequén, en vez de Gala, Revert o Almudena Grandes. So, this is about a pleasure where students respond to the writing stimulus provoked by the game, in a magical and fun environment, where learning occurs by the wish of continue playing and not as the fulfillment of a score in a school. Now, why writing? Writing process. There is a very fundamental link between writing and language development, as Samuels 1982 explains. Writing is a process through which meaning is created. This suggests composition instruction that recognizes the importance of generating, formulating, and refining one else's ideas. It implies that revision should intervene throughout the process and that the student should learn to view their writing as someone else's reading. Page 195. So, if students want to play and games are about writing, it is possible they will be autonomous writers like autonomous players. Taking this idea into consideration, an independence definition, word that is synonymous or autonomous in this paper, independence is the ability to function in a given area without depending upon another's help. Independence in reading and writing is the ability to read and write anything one can say or understand in his or her language without depending upon another's help. Language Links Library N.D. We language teachers can encourage our students to go beyond surface meaning and to discover the deeper meaning instead of merely using basic literacy skills. Literary thinking skills are not likely to develop spontaneously. Conversely, teachers must take a directive role initiating and guiding literary thinking. Unlunglu 2004, page 2. Language classes are particularly appropriate for teaching critical thinking, owing to the richness of material and the interactive approach used by students. The core of my project is to analyze how implementation of literary games promotes autonomous English writing skills among 5th grade students at Institución Educativa Enrique Olaya Herrera, and I am addressing the following questions. Main question: how does the implementation of literary games promotes autonomous English writing skills among 5th grade students at Institución Educativa Enrique Olaya Herrera? Type of research. This is a qualitative research because it explores a social problem, analyzing attitudes, beliefs, motivation, and behaviors of students. Also, the method used is action research. I use this kind of research by organizing a file where it is registered the behavior of students at the moment of writing during English class and their academic status. It takes me to do comparisons between the first and the second information obtained at the end of the process. Approach. There are many definitions of action research. UR 2000 describes it as essentially an on-the-spot procedure designed to deal with a concrete problem located in an immediately situation. This means that the step-by-step process is constantly monitored, ideally, that is, over varying periods of time and variety of mechanisms, questionnaires, diaries, interviews, and case study, for example, so that the ensuing feedback may be translated into modifications. Page 46. Type of design. In my study I used a participant observation. This kind of instruments is considered as the more important method in the ethnography. As Linfors 1999 observed, it is like ride on bicycle. Although there is much theory about how it does, anything can substitute to ride and to move. Page 12. The central idea of the participation is the penetration of the experience of the others in a group or institution. Is the best way to do things as to adopt a real role inside the group or institution and to contribute with their interests or functions. At the same time, those things are personally experienced altogether with the others. It entails access to all activities of the group. Let us observe from a short distance and also let us follow the sources of the process. Population. A group of 5th grade students at Institución Educativa Enrique Olaya Herrera. They are children among 10 and 12 years old. They have been studying English with the same English teacher for the last 3 years and they are considered to be good students. Also, they are very excited with the idea of producing writing information about their likes and lives. This school is located in an area considered with great violence and high poverty. This situation influences students, making English irrelevant for their life. Instruments. In order to analyze students' responses regarding my action research proposal, I am going to apply 3 data collection instruments. I am going to carry out a survey in Spanish to know students' perception about what is writing and what they do when they write. I will also collect students' responses, formats from writing events, literary games, and autonomous writing. And finally, a journal with the observations and reflection of every class and event during the research time. That is all. Thanks for your time, teacher.